Hey, welcome back to my channel Duct Tape Mechanic and to another episode of my series Free on Facebook, in which I repair, reuse, and repurpose things I find for free on Facebook Marketplace. In this video, we'll be repairing this Kenmore washing machine that won't turn on at all. So if you like this video, make sure you subscribe to my channel for more DIY and tinkering videos. So this is a washer that I picked up for free. Seems to be in fairly good condition, just needs to be cleaned up a little bit. It's a Kenmore Elite brand washer, and for the exact model number, that's what it is. So it was given out for free because they said it doesn't turn on, and like I'm going to show you in this video, and I've shown you in previous videos, a lot of these appliance repairs are really easy. They take usually about an hour to do. So it's a shame that people disregard or discard things like this that are so easy to fix and just go get something new. It's definitely not good for sustainability or even for your wallet. And if you want to get into this as a side business of flipping these, I think it's a business that has a lot of profit margin, because you're essentially only spending money for the part and flipping it for, a fairly decent profit, while at the same time keeping something that's perfectly useful out of the landfill. Anyways, the first thing we'll do is plug this one in and see if it doesn't turn on, like I said. And then after that, we'll take a look at the input and output voltages of the control board. I believe it's just behind this panel right here, so it's just be taking off the couple screws, this one, that one, and that one. So it's just 3 screws, and this whole panel should come up and we should get access to the control board. Alright, let's plug it in and see what's going on. So I got the washer all plugged in, and we're going to go ahead and try to turn this thing on. Looks like we got nothing. So the next thing we'll do is we'll check to see if the control board is getting the 120 volts AC, and then we'll also check for any sort of loose connections on the control board, and then we'll check the output of the control board. So that will help us determine whether it's this control panel that's out or the actual main control board. So we'll do that now. So we'll just open up this panel here. Alright, so now we got that panel opened up. Here's that control board, and we'll check to see if it's getting the correct voltages going to it, and that'll help us eliminate the cord has any sort of reason that it's causing the issue. So on this board right here, this is the cable that brings the AC power in. So we'll stick our probes of our multimeter in there and in there, and set our, let's see, okay, there you go. So we got 122 volts, or around 120 volts coming in to the board. So that just tells us that our cable power cord is okay, and we're getting the correct voltages coming in. Okay, so the next easy thing to do is to just check for any sort of loose connections here. It doesn't look like anything's loose. So after that, what we'll do is we're going to check for output voltages. So all you need to do is find a ground on the board, and then just use your multimeter in DC power to check for any sort of output. So for example, if we check the output from this blue cable, which is the one that goes to the panel, the control panel, the display panel, we should be getting some sort of voltage that goes to that board. If there's no voltage, that tells us that this board is a problem and not the display board. So to do that, you just have to look at a schematic of this board online, or just take this casing off and just look for a ground. So we should have some sort of voltage in one of these lines going out. But as I look at this more carefully, I see that there's a little bit of charring right here. So that tells me maybe an issue with this board itself. I may not even have to measure any output voltages to figure out that it's the board that's the issue. This looks like some sort of burn marks there as well. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and take all of the, well, first of all, we'll pull the power cord and then unhook all these cables and see what that charring is there, and maybe that'll give us an idea. Alright, so if you find that it's helpful, just go ahead and take a picture of all the connections. But honestly, these are keyed in a specific way, which they're only going to fit into a certain port. The hard part about these board repairs is determining whether it's the main board that's bad or the display board. And the best way to determine that is to see your output voltages on the main board going to the display board. So if you don't have any output going to the display board, your main board's bad. While if you have output going to your display board, most likely it's that board that's bad. And to do that, all you have to do is undo this connection, find a ground, and then measure for output on this connection right here. But I don't think that's the case in this particular incident, just because of all the charring we have on this body of the washer. I think there's an issue with the main board. So that's why we're going to undo all these connections and see what's going on. After removing the board, you can clearly tell something got burned on the board right here. So I don't think we're pretty safe to say we don't need to measure any output voltages to determine that this is the issue, but I'm going to take this casing off and see what's going on. So yeah, so I got the casing off, and you can tell that this is definitely a board issue. Just look at that fuse. It's completely blown up. That capacitor there is bulging. That one probably is bad as well. That IC is got a big crater in it. And a lot of the times on these boards, it's usually just the capacitors that are gone or a relay is stuck, and you can actually desolder these and solder on a new component. And that's what I was planning on doing when I saw this originally, but then I looked up these components here, and that IC there, and it's got a 6-week lead period for them to come in. So I just can't have this washer sitting here for 6 weeks like that. Plus, I looked up a new board on the internet. Since this is a little bit older washer, the new board is not that expensive, like 30 some odd bucks. So I went ahead and purchased that. But yeah, we can definitely conclude that the main board is the issue here. Yeah, on these main boards, like I said, these capacitors can go out, the relays. This is a bridge rectifier. This pretty much is a component that has 4 diodes in it, and that's what rectifies the AC voltage to DC. That could be a potential short in there, and it's not that much. I mean, that could go bad that you can replace yourself. So, but it is doable. All right, so that's the old board there, and here's a new one I got. Well, this is from an older machine that somebody pulled and sold on eBay. So we're going to be slapping this one on, and hopefully that solves our issue. All right, so let's go ahead and install the new board, make all the connections, and we should be done. Alright, so I've got the old board all swapped out with the new one. Got the console back on, and all in all about 30 minutes of work. So I got it plugged in here, so we'll go ahead and power it up and see if it comes on. Look at that. At least we got it to come on, and the display is reading. It looks like it's going to be just fine here. We'll go do a test run, and hopefully that's all it was. I'm sure that's what the main issue was, considering the condition of that old board. But we'll go ahead and make this thing go through a cycle and just make sure everything's okay. So just powered it off again. I'm gonna control over here. Everything looks pretty good. Just looking at it from here, but we'll go through and run a cycle and see if everything's okay. I just noticed that in the last shot it appeared that the lights were blinking on the washing machine, but in real life they're actually not blinking. It's just that the frames per second on my camera isn't in sync with the frequency of the electricity. It's called the strobe effect. So it just appears that way, but it actually is not. These lights are actually blinking. Anyways, let's go run a cycle and see if everything's working, and if it is, we should be good to go. So here it is in the last couple minutes of a spin cycle, working really well. So all I gotta do is clean this up a little bit, and it should be good to go. So it was just that control board that was the issue.